Welcome to Packmates, a podcast about Magic the Gathering Limited, where we take a deep dive in the current limited formats. Packmates are a group of friendly card sharks who like hanging out, going to F&Ms, and getting them dubs. I'm Ryan, the resident aggro expert.
I'm Robi, the resident Dirtle expert.
I'm Andrew, the resident mid-range expert.
And I'm Joel, the resident combo expert.
Very nice.
And good clipping.
We are the Packmates.
Yeah, that was a good
That was
clip.
actually a pretty good
This week, we're going to talk about our Rochester team sealed, our team draft that we did. And then we're going to talk about how to have infinite festivals in a box. As many as you want.
Yeah, I think on average, out of all the Magic the Gathering podcasts, our podcast averages the most
Festivals in a box.
festivals.
There's
in a
no way
box
we
per
don't.
person. For
There's
sure.
no way we don't.
And it's not because of any of us except Joel.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, LSV doesn't have no 3 boxes.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into it.
Yeah,
Don't forget to check out our socials. Links are in the description. Join the Discord. Ping us if we're not in there. We'll always help you make deck cuts. We'll help you draft. We're just here to help.
You can catch us drafting there as well. Sometimes we'll
Yeah.
be live, and so check us out in our Discord.
Yep. This week, we're going to start off with our team Rochester drafts with Joel first.
So
Why Joel? Well, how come Joel gets to go first?
Well, he did go 3-0, but
He
we'll get the
did.
final standings later.
They violently body all of us.
We don't have any me guys.
yeah, for sure.
We don't have no me guys. We're just all team guys.
We're all team.
We're all team guys.
turns out 1-1 flyers go all the way.
Yeah.
They're good. Who knew?
So I think first you have to explain what in the world a Team Rochester draft
Okay,
is.
so Team Rochester's
Like-
3v3. Players to alternate, and then you Rochester player 1 opens a pack, takes a card, player 2 takes a card, snake draft. 3 takes, 4 takes, 5 takes, 6 takes 2, then 5, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. Then 1, then 2, then 3, because we only had 6.
And it's important to note that the cards are face up, so you're seeing all of them at the same time instead of normally where your pack is concealed.
And you're discussing with your team picks, like on almost every pick. You can help each other, you can talk, but everything you say is open information because the other team can hear, right?
Yep.
That's at least how we did it. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was like a ton of fun. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, it was a blast.
It was super fun.
Yeah, it was a great thing to do when you have 6 drafters instead of your 8 or 4, and everybody wants to play, and then we all got 3 rounds, which was really nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a lot funner than just a 6-man blind pot, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
When the
Yeah.
format gets old.
Nah, it's fine. No, it was nice to do that. I always like it when we Rochester towards the end of a format. Everybody kind of knows the cards, and then if somebody's new to it, we can actually kind of help them along as well.
I like
Yeah.
the idea of doing it way more than I ever actually like it. This time was pretty fun. Though.
Yeah, this was like the funnest time because you can like actually give advice and like people know your intentions are good.
Yeah.
You know what I
for
mean?
sure.
Like in the other way, sometimes you have ulterior motives, right?
Yeah.
Like, you should take this card so I can have this card. But none of that this time.
Yeah, it was fun for sure. So Joel, tell us about your body S deck.
So I drafted 4 1-1 white flyers, and then ways to pump them, including some pretty mediocre ways to pump them. So I didn't get as much as I wanted. There was a lot of hate drafting. People were taking all my ways to pump them. But I got a couple fungal fortitudes, which way overperformed. Normally not a big fan of that card. But when you see that the table opens, like 2 pieces of exile removal, then, it gets significantly better. And then, just like a hammer, the aspirin that puts a counter on them. And my curve topped out at 3-4 drops. So, just low to the ground, get him dead as fast as possible.
Yep. Any sweet like things that you haven't really ran into before that you played?
Not really.
Like, you're aggressively going after the 3/2s that sack something to get counters, kind of.
I wanted those really badly because, like, you can just sack something that's been like petrified or whatever, or just some random Tinker's Toe gnome, and pump your flyers. And when you've got 4 of them, it's pretty easy to have at least one. And I did not get a single one.
I hated one of them. I didn't hate very many cards, but I did hate one of those, which is absurd. The card's bad.
Yeah, no, it's normally not even like a very good card, but in my deck, it would have been amazing.
Yep. But to no avail. How'd you end up?
3-0.
3-0.
Bodied
Dropped
our
one
entire
game
team.
when I drew only lands.
Yeah.
Who did you lose a game to?
Ben. Yeah.
Yep. That's funny. That's funny.
That was a lot of lands that game.
I
Oh,
drew
no.
12 out of 16. Yeah.
So, as team captain, what went wrong?
So we didn't even explain that yet.
Yeah.
We had team captains.
It was Joel and Andrew versus Ryan and Robi. We had another guy named Ben. They had another guy named Andrew.
Yep.
So Joel was captain. He got first pick.
Mm-hmm.
He picked Andrew.
Perfect pick.
Pick
And
a
then-
boomer for the boomer set. Whatever.
And then I got second pick. I took Robi and Ben, and we ended up winning barely by like one game.
Yeah.
Yep. So what went wrong as team captain?
I think we had some pretty good decks. The other Andrew was a little bit of a newer player, but his deck was still really good. He ended up with a really solid red green Dinos deck, and I think he just ended up drawing a lot of top end or no top end, and that really messes you up.
I felt like the games were like a lot more competitive today than they normally are. Like almost every game.
Yeah.
Like even when you kind of steamrolled me, like it was fairly close. Like it was a turn away.
It was back and forth.
Yeah.
I think the general power level of our decks went down quite a bit due to all the hate drafting that went on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's possible we should have done that more. Honestly.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I think that was where if our team, maybe we could have hate drafted a little bit more. It was just tough because you're on your team, Ryan. Like Robi was drafting 5-color.
Yeah.
And so he was just,
Immediately straight out of the
yeah.
gate.
And so it was really hard to cut him, passing to him. And so that was a little tough.
So I could hate draft cards I was going to put.
And it's not hate drafting if you play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
hate
it's not
drafting,
even
yeah.
hate drafting, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just in everything.
So that was a little rough because he was taking cards from me, and then he was also taking cards. Like he was just that designated hate draft player in the middle there, and so he hated on 2 of the teammates out of our 3.
Yeah.
And so I think that really affected it. But I think we called it about
Gave my-
midway through the draft. We'd called it the power level of the decks looked a little weaker, and the power level of cards that we opened also was generally a little bit weaker. The blue cards weren't really there, and blues.
And like the signpost uncommons, if you think about how many signpost uncommons anyone at the table was playing, I think there was 1 or 2.
I think it was
Yeah.
2. Yeah.
I played 2. 3 were opened of the whole night. It was
'Cause there was
2
a Kutsos,
Rakdos and a
right?
green white.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
then
There was
one
green
in braid
black
open all
one that
night.
got
There was
hated from me.
1 2/2 flyer in blue opened all night.
Yeah.
Like the limited amount of cards we saw was like a high variance, like low good card portion of the box. I felt like, you know what I mean?
I would
Yeah.
definitely
So
agree.
I think the strategies that tended to go a little bit longer or had, cards that did like I make a 1/1 when I come into play or something like that had a lot of value in this just because the power level of the deck wasn't really quite where we normally see in this draft format, with all the aggro cards.
I was in
Yeah.
a weird spot too because I couldn't hate draft Joel without hate drafting my teammate.
Mhm.
Because Joel was in white black, and then the Ben was down straight. Like the next player from him was also in white black. So often I had to give Joel 2 good choices so Ben could get 1 good choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was like a really weird spot to be in.
And it was pretty interesting. We ended up in very different white black decks.
Yeah.
His was like mid range, late game white black,
Yeah,
and
he
mine
didn't
was
have the
hyper
flash.
aggro.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it was really fun.
It was super fun.
I ended up in Rakdos Reanimator.
Ah, did you?
Which is not a thing.
It is.
It is whenever you get the specific cards that you got, right?
Yeah, I had 4 land cyclers, 2 reds, a black, and a blue, and then 2 defossilizes and 1 soul coil viper, which was just insane. Like soul coil viper into like something on turn 4, like I just cycle and play it immediately
Yeah.
was huge, and that like never won me the game in any of the matchups. Like I just did it, and it was like Andrew was like, put it back on top. Someone was
Yeah.
like, kill it. Like it was just, but then like just the amount of being able to get stuff back with defossilize and just having big stuff was absurd. Defossilize is a busted card. The other card that I had that I really liked was the card that makes tokens. Like it's generally terrible, right? Like it makes copy tokens. What's it called, Joel?
Self-reflection.
Self-reflection. It's got
Self-reflection.
flashback for
Yeah.
3 and a
Yeah.
blue.
Yeah, the flashback is the sickest part of it.
That's
I was
like
hoping
the
to mill it,
only
and I
good part.
never
Yeah.
did. But 4 in double blue to copy anything on the battlefield, and then 3 in a blue flashback. And every time I drew that card, I won the game. Like it was just insane in my deck.
Quit sandbagging. What was your best card in your deck?
Fossilize.
No.
Oh.
Dracosaur.
Dracosaur.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
only drew Dracosaur
There
once. I
we
literally
go.
drew Dracosaur once all night, so it doesn't even count.
Did it win you the game?
Barely. That line I had against you was like a crazy weird one.
Oh man.
I played Dracosaur and then I untapped with it, and he had a 6/6 that could swing through the Dracosaur, and I'm at 2, and he had a 2/2 flyer, and all I have is Dracosaur. And then he exiles from the top, make a copy of something, or the Idol of the Deep King. And I played Idol of the Deep King to kill his 2/2, and then crafted it to put on the Dracosaur to block. And if he had anything, he just wins. And that was on his Mold of 4. He got me to 1.
Deck was good.
His deck was good.
When you're almost winning with a Mold of 4, deck is definitely good.
He top deck straight. I looked at his hand even. I had a Visage and like got a card from him on turn 2.
Yeah, you literally stripped a card that probably would have won me that game too.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
And then he just top deck straight gas. But it was a crazy Mold of 4 game. It was a crazy Mold of 4 game. But we pulled it out, Pulled it out. Yeah, and I am 2-1. I lost to Joel.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was basically our team's designated hate drafter.
Yeah.
Like my second pick, because I was last to pick in pack 1.
Second to last.
I was last. I
Andrew
was
was
second to
I
last.
was
Yeah.
last.
Yep. So I ended up getting Brontosaur and thrashing Brontosaur, and then super greedy berry treasure. It was just like, all right, I'm 5 colors.
Yeah.
At that point.
So that way
I
could
could
have had a
just-
sick Dinos deck.
I know, okay.
But yeah. That it ended up pulling more weight. You just hating from two.
Why play a good deck when you can play 5 colors?
Yeah. So I did the worst on our team. It's because I had the worst deck because I had to hate draft so much. Yeah, but it was fun. It was fun. My deck was AIDS.
Yeah.
I was like legit 5 colors. I don't even remember how I won. I had like big green stuff.
You had big stuff. Yeah.
I had big stuff. Yeah,
random
random big
Mhm.
stuff. But yeah, that was basically my deck. Not too much. Shit.
Cave's still not good when everyone has a.
Oh, I had all the
No.
cave stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was winning with leeches. Yeah, which is super bad. I felt really
man.
bad against Joel because I like sacked a captivating cave. And I was like, dude, he's about to immediately kill my leech after I put 2 counters on it. And he definitely did.
Yep.
And I lost that game.
Make him have it.
But yep. I got 1 win, which mattered. Yep.
Came up big.
Yeah,
It was.
Came
big.
up big. Oh man. Yeah, I played an Is It deck. It was good. I thought I was drafting pretty well for where I was at. Nobody was really taking blue, so I was like, blue would be pretty good. And then it just, man, it was a pretty solid deck. I think I had, was it 2 of the 1/2 what's it,
Goblin
Goblin
Tomb
Tomb
Raiders.
Raider.
Goblin Tomb Raider. I had was it Inti?
Inties.
Yeah, Inties. Yeah, and that guy's insane. The 2/2 that when you attack, you get to discard a card, put a 1/1 counter, it gives it trample, and then you get to play the top card off your deck because it triggers when it discards something. And so it was just like a sick, just like really low to the ground, tons of 2-drops. I think my 2-drop slot was like at 12, 15 cards, something like that. I mean, it was just way over the top on the 2s. There's a lot of hating on that though. There were so many of those sirens out there. I think there was 2 of them in our draft pool, and I think there was like a really
The Oaken Sirens.
there was like there was 2 Oaken Sirens, and there was
One
the
Spyglass.
one Spyglass Siren, and I was like, damn, I think I made a mistake picking a 2/2 that when it just ends, you get to get a treasure. I think I should have taken the Oaken Siren because I think I was lacking one more flyer in that deck. But other than that, the deck was really good when it performed. I mean, it really was performing pretty well. Like,
It was just so soft.
You were
Yeah.
looting 2 or 3 times a turn.
oh yeah, I was drawing cards like crazy. I mean, the matches that I lost were like, it was a mold of 4, a mold of 6. Molding in this format's really bad too, especially when you're playing like an aggro deck like that. And then the next game, though I had a genuine loss, probably the first of my last games, and then the next game afterward, it was like 15 lands out of my 17 or something like that I saw, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna lose.
Yeah.
But the deck was probably really good if it just actually had just not just like.
So what
puttered out of
was
the
your
gates.
record?
I was 1-2.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
as bad as me. Don't act like you're better than me.
I mean, I definitely almost beat a Bonehorn Dracosaur on a mold of 4 with that deck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's see
but
what a
you
best of
didn't
5 between the 2
almost
decks
beat
looks
Joel.
like.
That's Cope.
Copio.
I already D-sleeve too. Tough.
How was that?
Excuse
No,
to
he,
me.
he always does that. He always D-sleeves pretty quick there. Never wants to play the unsanctioned 4th round.
Yeah, it was fun. It was definitely fun. But that was like Ryan's dream come true. He's been trying to do Team Rochester forever.
Over a year.
For over a year.
Not Rochester, just team. I see Rochester for you.
Literally no one ever wants to do that. It's such a tough sell. Because you also have to like, nobody actually knows what team draft is. Even me at this point. Like I still don't completely understand it. Like how it's even that much different. But and then the Rochester part, which everyone else adamantly hates.
Yeah. The thing that makes it so different is every card you pass, your team has to beat 3 times. Like play 3 times. So hate drafting is just like a must.
Yeah.
In certain situations. It was kind of nice though doing it face up for the first time because you could really target the hate drafting.
Yeah.
It makes the hate drafting much easier. I think when you do it face down, the hate drafting is much more skill intensive. You need to know what they're in, just based off the signals.
Yeah.
So instead of signals just being like, you make your deck a little better, it's also, affecting all of your team's matches. And then it's just like probably the biggest part of the draft.
Yeah. It would be fun to do it face down for sure.
It would for sure. I feel like I get nerfed by Rochester. Part of my stuff is the element of surprise. Because you never actually know what I'm trying to do, right?
Yeah.
It was so funny when we were playing Robi. It'd be like, hey, does this guy have any braids? Like, no, it's fine. Kept asking me for people's deck lists while I'm playing.
That's legal, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's
yeah.
You can help each
team.
other too during the games.
Yeah.
And at one point, I was done, and like Robi and Ben were like, "Hey Ryan, what's your?" And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun bouncing back.
It
and
was
forth.
kind of fun.
It was really hard to like evaluate the board state, help someone, and then go evaluate a new board state, and like. But it was easier because I knew people's decks, right?
Yeah. Definitely recommended.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Everyone needs a Rochester, low key, at least once per format.
You just learn so much about the people you draft with.
You really do. Yeah. So what do we have next, Ryan?
We're gonna talk about how, as a podcast, what do we win the most festivals
on average per member?
Because Joel has won 6 festival in a box.
Basically farming wizards for everything that they own. Basically.
Making them look like idiots.
Like super degenerate behavior. Like I saw like the progression of it in the Discord, which if you haven't joined, you should, just so you can see how funny this is. Starting at about like 12 o'clock after draft, he's like, all right, won another festival in a box.
Yeah.
And then steadily like every 2 hours.
Yeah. I think you had to go on like, there where you hit like 3 in a row.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. No, it turns out you just do way better after midnight.
and like from like midnight until like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Was just straight posts of his deck list.
You never leave a heater, Robi.
Yeah.
That's rule 1. That's true. If you're on a heater, you can't leave. You call
I thought it was
work.
5. I didn't even know he won the 6th one.
Yeah, 6.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, I was just going to go to bed. I was done. I was going to save 5,000 gems for Arena Open. And then I was like, there's 2 hours left.
It sounds good right now. Another box.
Exactly.
Dude, I can't wait till he gets them all. Don't sell them all. You need at least one flex pick where you're like bathing in them in a bathtub. like at least one super hard flex pick for sure.
You need to email Wizards and say, yeah, just send me a case.
Yeah. I wonder how many is in a case.
6.
6?
Yeah.
Is 6 actually a
festival
case?
box? Oh,
Well,
man.
that's how draft boosters are. 6 in a case.
Oh, the festival in the box. Like what all is in that?
Yeah, so you get 48 packs. 24 of them are the Mystery Convention edition. So those have all manner of cards. I think they have a couple test cards in them.
Yep.
And then you get 24 Chaos Sealed. So that is, it's a whole selection of packs. I think you get a couple MH2 and then just, a whole bunch of different formats, 1 or 2 of each. And then you get the Dan Frazier's Mox Secret Lair promo, the Relentless Lats promo, and there's one other Secret Lair.
Yeah, because I was like looking it up. I thought there were like commander decks in there or something random like that.
So how do you do it? What do I need to do that?
Well, talk us through the format. What's the format first?
So it is definitely going to be super bomb heavy. Nearly every deck you see is going to have a bomb, right?
So it's
Or
like
multiple.
8 packs sealed, right?
It's 9.
9 packs
Oh,
sealed.
9
Yeah,
packs
9
sealed.
packs.
9 packs, yeah. And it's not like truly chaos. You know what formats the sets are the packs are from and everyone's getting from the same like formats. Right? It's not like you're getting random packs every time. So it's somewhat equal playing field since everyone's getting them from the same formats, but you could vary wildly in how good your packs are.
Yeah.
The main thing I think is a lot of people remember that a card was good in its format, and that does not mean the card is good.
Yeah.
Right? So like I saw someone playing Sarenth Steel Seeker, right? And the card definitely did some work in its format.
It was a super good card.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But he was playing
What's
it.
that one?
It's a 2-mana 1/2 in green. Whenever an artifact enters, you look at the top card. If it's a land, you draw it. Otherwise, you can bin it.
It's from Brothers War.
Exactly.
Right,
yeah. But he didn't have the artifacts to trigger, and he had a couple other cards like that where it's like it was good in its format, but it just doesn't really make the cut here. It's not gonna pull enough weight. You can't do like the synergy stuff unless if you really have the enablers. And even if you're trying to do the synergy stuff, if it's a below rate creature, it probably just isn't gonna make the cut. Other than that, you definitely want to play to your bombs. Depending on your fixing, you can definitely splash, but I saw people get super greedy, and if you don't have the fixing, do not be greedy, stick with your 2 colors. And that I think was the biggest point of variance was just the lands you get, right? Because in a lot of those formats, it's either like a basic land or you get like a tapped duel, and there is a humongous difference between those.
Oh yeah.
If that lets you splash some stuff. And the other thing, I think a lot of people are not used to playing around board wipes unlimited, but when you open 9 packs,
you're getting a board wipe.
It's very likely.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So that should always be in the back of your mind when you're winning is like, can I afford to do that? And I think the other thing I saw people who are like super scared of board wipes, right? And you cannot always afford to play around it.
Yeah.
So know when you can and when you can't. And that makes a pretty big difference.
What were the formats? What were the packs you got to open?
I'd have to check.
Were they the same for all of them?
It was the same for all of them.
So this is the second time they've done this, right? Like the first time they did
multiple weekends, but it was the same format.
Same format?
Like the same packs. There's at least one Brothers War. I think there was
Midnight Hunt.
Midnight Hunt, Dominaria United.
And I ended up getting 5 wins. But
yeah. 5 wins is a rebuy.
I just ran out of time, genuinely.
Yep.
You think 9 packs makes it less variance, like an easier to consistently hit EVs?
So the thing I think with this event compared to other for instance, the Arena Open is just based off how good the pricing is with how much the boxes are worth. You need a less high win rate, right? And for most of their events, you're gonna need like higher than 60% win rate to really go positive, right? If you're spending real money on entries, right? If you just do your dailies and you're getting a free entry effectively, then obviously it's great. Most of them, you probably need 60, 65%. You need a really good win rate to really be positive spending money on it. This one, I believe it was 57.6% win rate to go positive if you're selling it for like the TCG player price, right? So if you really can move the product. I ended up with a 63% win rate overall. So, that was quite a bit above that. And because that's for each game, it's, somewhat multiplicative. So I definitely think this kind of event is way easier to go positive in just because you don't need to do as well. And then it's also limited. There were a lot of players I ran into that were playing cards that were neither good in their format or not good in chaos.
Yeah.
They weren't limited players.
It's not ranked, right?
It's not
ranked.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, your first 2 games were often not free per se. Sometimes you run into some really good decks, obviously. And sometimes you lose to a bad player playing bombs. But I definitely think you can get wins against people with better decks that should have won. There were at least 5 games where my opponent had me dead on board if they would have played it right.
Yeah.
Right? Between combinations of abilities, complicated board state, whatever. And they ended up losing, right? So the average player in that compared to, like Mythic Draft, it's quite a bit lower quality, which makes it easier to farm.
For sure. If you could give like 2 or 3 tips to someone that doesn't really do seals very much for like pre-releases or for events like that, like what's the biggest difference between like sealed and draft or just things that I can implement today to make me better? Like one for me, for example, is to hold your removal kind of, right? Like in draft, you kind of fire it off if you have the mana a lot of the time. You don't necessarily hold it, depending on your deck, but in sealed, you kind of have to hold it because they are going to have something good, right?
Yeah, no, you definitely can't afford to just fire it off on like their 3 mana 3/3.
Right.
Right. Sometimes you just gotta take the beats, even if you're losing a lot of life. Your life's a resource, and then try to stabilize later. I think the biggest thing is for me the deck building. A lot of people see a bomb rare and they instantly are like in that color, But if you don't have the support, a bunch of uncommons, you might need to be somewhere else. It's like, look at your bombers, see if you can play those first. But if not, go through and like take out the playables from each color, especially when there's 9 packs, it can be a little overwhelming, but sort through those. You can almost always eliminate a color, right? Once you've eliminated that, you can trim down, see which ones actually work, and then build multiple decks, especially if you're doing it online where you have unlimited time, right? If you spend an hour building all your decks, you can take a photo, see what actually is good. And sometimes it's really obvious what your deck is, right? You have like bombs in these 2 colors and only those 2, and it's super easy. But I think a lot of players kind of just like build their deck, fire it off and go. And spending some time on that can save you a lot, right? You initially feel really attracted to this color, and then you realize once you've built it that it just doesn't go with anything else, right? And, if that makes one deck from a loss into a win, that's a humongous difference in terms of EV.
Yeah, I definitely found that the 9 packs was super overwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's like 3 decks in every sealed pool, basically, right?
Absolutely. And so like actually build those, compare them. Don't just like think, oh, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Because I know for a fact, even at the beginning, I was just like building a deck, firing it off and running it, right? But if you take the time to actually build them all, you can do way better.
Huh, yeah. I definitely did that on my one shot at it.
Yeah. And I'm sure a bunch of other people did too, right? Because you're used to doing that. You're used to like quick drafting. You're used to just like instantly
I'm
going.
a quick draft fiend, and I just full send everything at 1,000 miles an hour. 43 cards, just always, yeah.
Joel, how many times did you enter in the event?
So I ended up spending $500 in total. That doesn't count the rebuys though. So for the actual sealed, I ended up going 70 and 41 in games. So I don't know how many times I actually ended up entering there. But yeah, quite a few, at least like 20, right? Because I got a good number of rebuys, right? Times you go 5 and 2, and then if you go 4 and 2, you get 2,000 gems, so it's a partial rebuy.
Ah, okay. I was wondering where normally when you look at the economy of that and you're looking to see where my break-even point is,
it's 5.
And so did that? It was 5 wins.
5 wins.
Okay.
So you had to be 5 and 2 to go even, and then 6 and 2 or 6 and 1 if you actually get the box. You do not get your gems back, so you only get the box. So you can't just like truly go infinite with that. But the box is worth so much more, right? It's 5,000 gems to enter, which is about $25 if you're buying the 100 pack.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
or $30 if you just buy that.
If you're buying them individually, But if you're gonna grind it, I definitely recommend going, like all in. Because you're losing quite a bit of value.
Yeah,
absolutely.
If you're spending 30.
Yeah,
you might as well just go to 100 and just get the extra gems. Or the value on the gems, at least.
Especially since this is high variance. So, like, just assuming that, I'll be able to get a box, it might take some time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how many times do you think it would take us to get a box? Like, how many buys?
So,
person by person.
For you personally.
I got 5 wins my first time. I did okay.
I definitely think the level of effort, if you actually are building the decks, multiple decks, seeing which one's better, that's going to correlate quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is, I think people grossly underestimate variance in these formats.
Oh, yeah.
You could easily be a 60, even a 70% win rate, right? 65 maybe, win rate player, and lose your first 4.
Yeah.
Right? You could spend $100, get absolutely nothing out. And that is entirely possible. And in fact, it's somewhat likely, right? Which is why I do think that you should be like tracking your win rate overall and seeing how it is. But if you are trying to put like, it's going to be this number of times, that's not even, it's not remotely accurate.
Yeah.
Because even like the sample size I have, where I'd played over 100 games in it, right? There's a huge amount of variance in that.
Unhinged behavior.
Like I could have been at 0 boxes after that many games.
Yeah.
Right?
Easily, it could just happen. Mana Screw, Mana Flood. Any of these other things.
Or even if I'm going 5 and 2 consistently, just not getting that 6th win, you end up with 1 hard pairing. Mm-hmm. Even if you have a really high win rate, if you don't get the 6th win, it's all for nothing.
Yeah.
Right? You get a rebuy.
Yeah, you get a rebuy.
What's the mindset? Like, is it, I'm going to play this at least 8 times before you sit down? Or is it, I'm going to try it a few times, see how it goes?
So the way I went into it was I wanted to test my game win rate, and then regardless of whether I'd won boxes or not, if I felt that my win rate was above that 57.6, right, then I was just going to put 500 in, right? I was just going to commit to that much because that eliminates some of the variance, right? Mm-hmm. And I was above that win rate. I'd only won 1 box, but I'd felt like it was worth it, right? If you're above that, in the long term, it'll pay off, right? you don't really get a long term with this if you can't just spend every single second grinding it. But if they start doing it more, they said that this was a test for sending out more prizes in one of the articles on it. So hopefully there'll be more arena events like this in the future.
Yeah, that seems cool.
So just like you have to hard commit.
I mean, what I would definitely do is you need to be confident in your skills. And I use 17 lanes to track it, right? So you can actually get your win rate on that. You can look at it. And also you want to be looking back on your games, making sure you're not just punting, right? Like you need the right mindset to just be going, every time. It's not like just quick draft where it's like, oh, you lose. Oh, well, if you're going to be putting money into it, you should be taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you don't think it's something you should dip your toes into. And
I mean,
for funsies.
What percentage?
I'm certainly happy with everyone just dipping their toes.
Yeah, that's why they have events to make sure that economy is kind of flowing around with all those gyms and things like that. People aren't hoarding things.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people in our Discord actually like going into the event as well, and
Other people won
they were kind of
boxes,
inspired by Joel's
Joel's
monster run there,
hard grind.
and they're like, "Hey, I think I could do it too." And then it's cool when you see like somebody else's deck and like, "Oh, that's kind of one," and how they do it, and just like I really liked your nugget of your like nugget knowledge of just like build your deck again. You have infinite time to build these decks. Don't rush into the first one that you do. It happens all the time when I'm at a pre-release or something or a sealed event where I'm like, oh, the other deck was much better.
Yeah.
Or this other, like this card would have been this way. And so it's good to just take your time, especially when you're putting in some
I'm
real
sure it's also
gyms
like
and stuff
really
in that.
good too to like if you have like a game loss early, like maybe just go back and reevaluate your deck too.
Yeah, I definitely
you
looked at my
definitely
decks
can.
between rounds and occasionally made changes.
Yeah.
Right? It was like this card underperformed. I thought it would be doing better, but it
Like
wasn't.
that's a good way, like especially like being people that like have drafted all these formats too. Like it's easy for us to get stuck in traps.
I think like one of the key takeaways to me and something that I try to do all the time is I think like subtractive deck building is better than additive deck building, where you like have this card and you like, okay, what cards go with it? And you add those to the deck. And then you say, okay, what cards can I go with those? I think it's better to like put every card you might possibly play out and then start getting rid of cards.
Yeah, that's
Like,
always
in
how I do
general.
it, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm bad at it.
Like,
that's what
I know like a lot of streamers like build their deck as they draft and like, stuff like that. And I hate that. I can't do it. Like, I mean, I track it obviously in my head, but
I think that just comes with knowing the format when those drafters doing that kind of thing.
yeah,
They really have a very deep knowledge of that format. And so they're able just to know exactly what their deck is and just hit that send button right away.
right. But I think for sealed, like it's like the subtractive deck building process is just infinitely better than, because like a lot of times people get stuck, like you said, like this card's amazing, I'm going to play around it. Well, what happens if you never draw that card, right? You're just not going to win a game.
Yeah. Especially if you're playing, below average cards to support it.
Yeah.
Right. If you're supporting it with other good cards, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But playing bad cards to make your good card better is generally not the strategy you want.
And in a new format, I think it's important to like evaluate every card kind of in a vacuum. In chaos drafts are a new format. Like they should be treated as a new format,
definitely
right? So evaluate cards in a vacuum, put all your cards that like you think are good in a pile, and then start getting rid of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is definitely some like advantage to like knowing the formats. There are some cards that will always be good in every format.
Yeah.
Like Gruff Triplets is gonna be sick always.
Organ Hoarder is going to be
Organ
always good.
Hoarder is literally always good. It's probably better in the format that it came out in though. That
Yeah.
might be like more of a
It's a 4-mana draw, like 4 mana plus anticipate body. Like it's so good.
yeah, but it's not good in the way that it was good in Midnight Hunt for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't synergize with flashback and all
And
that. right?
flashback
Yeah.
and with like the spirits, right? Yeah.
And then there's cards that are like not going to be good in every format. Like Scab Wrangler was like amazing in Midnight Hunt,
not good.
but probably not good
Yeah.
in Chaos Draft.
yeah, for sure.
So you definitely need more of those just like generically good bodies,
Mhm.
good ETBs, that kind of thing, instead of the synergy kind of stuff.
Wingmantle Chaplain, probably not good in Chaos.
yeah,
yeah.
Big Mantle Jab.
Biggest bomb of the set.
First pickable.
Bad in Chaos Draft. See.
I saw someone try to do the Defenders thing. It was cool.
Awesome.
I absolutely destroyed them.
Kudos to them for trying to make it work.
Yeah.
You
God
know?
bless them.
It's a good card. It's a
It is a
good
good card.
card.
It is a
Yeah.
good card.
He had at least 4 Defenders, right? But I still don't think it was
That deck does not work with 4 defenders.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You need
definitely
the common that searches,
Searches,
on
shield
those
wall,
things.
Sandal.
My
Oh,
boy.
yeah.
Yeah.
my baby. But yeah, so do we have any more questions for Joel? Should
you
we
help us
try
next
to
time?
grind these events?
Okay, that's what I was saying with like testing the win rate, right? Where if you have the money to spend, obviously, don't spend money you can't afford to spend. But if you have it and like you put, I'd say at least 8 entries to test, right? That might not be enough. Obviously, that's still a very small sample size, but that would be $200, right? And then you could look at your 17 lanes win rate. You can see where you're at. Are you above that? 57. And if you're below it, you probably shouldn't be, right? Obviously, you're going to have quite a bit of plus or minus just based off the variance. But, if you're going to be putting quite a bit of money in to try to make it and you're below that, odds are you aren't high enough above it, right? So
how much time investment?
It takes a decent amount of time, right? Especially if you're taking the time to build your deck, right?
Yeah.
But, if you spend 2 hours and you put $100 in and you get 250 out and you're doing it playing Magic, spread out whenever you want, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Obviously, that won't happen every time. But
Yeah.
if it does,
the one time I did it, I definitely didn't realize that it ended at 8 o'clock in the morning. I woke up at like 7:45 and I was like, I need to just run these. I was like 1 and 2. And I was like, I just need to run them.
That's
Just
not
run
the
'em.
way to do it.
That's for
Yeah,
sure
definitely
not the
not,
way to
man.
do it.
You have to be.
I was like
informed and
dreading
ready.
it. I was like dreading it. I was like, dude, this isn't good.
Yeah.
But no.
Superfecta.
Superfecta.
Superfecta. What do we
Yeah.
have this week, Ryan?
Things you like to do when you're taking a break from Magic.
Amen, brother.
Sometimes we need them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Sometimes
well,
you just need to like go outside,
Get a little
Yeah.
holiday vacay.
like call a family member.
Is that your number one pick?
No, no, for sure not.
Uh,
Do I look like a family man?
let's have Andrew go first. He always has weird takes like Hallmark
great.
movies.
Yeah,
All right.
for
Oh,
sure.
gosh,
Like,
yeah. That was a good one. All right. My thing to do, and I'm not doing, playing Magic or taking a break from Magic, is going out to dinner with my friends and talking about Magic.
That's a terrible
Oh
choice.
God.
That is
I
a
want you to think
horrible,
back how many times you've probably done
garbage
that.
choice.
Talk,
sure.
before pre-releases, that's about it.
Oh, no. It's
Yeah.
you got to reminisce about the good times, about how that beatdown was.
I
3
can
weeks
only
ago.
have so many people in my life that I can talk to about Magic.
Yeah, I
Else
need.
I'll literally
like,
turn into an insane person.
I don't need people geeking out about Magic 24/7.
Yeah, dude, it's too much. It's too much.
it's not. Nah. You can geek out about Magic
Yeah.
always.
I, for one, welcome the Magic geeks.
Amen,
Yeah.
brother. But there's a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
And it is always the time for Magic.
Oh, to be young again.
Yes.
What do you value, Joel?
Yeah. My favorite thing to do when taking a break from Magic is play a different format. If I'm done with Limited, we go to either a different form of Limited, Vintage Cube, or we go to Modern, maybe some Legacy. There's always something else you can play.
It's always there, baby. I've been playing a lot of League of Legends lately, specifically in houses against people I know. Like just games against them, so much fun.
Yeah, I played with him a couple times.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun.
Did you have fun?
Yeah, I'm really bad.
That's okay.
I'm super bad.
Everyone is for like at least a year. In
There's
League.
no way I'm putting a year into it.
So you say
No
that.
way.
We'll see.
There's
We'll see.
no way.
We'll see.
No way. All right, so it's my turn. I get 2. I wasn't ready for 2. Okay, so number 1, what I've been doing lately, woodworking.
Ooh, sick.
Really?
Nice.
Actually, yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, like just randomly. Like I've just been doing projects. I'm kind of like a hobby guy. Like I have a billion hobbies. But a second one, kayaking.
Nice.
Cool.
Oh.
Yeah, I have a kayak.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
I hate it.
You're
Yeah.
not a kayaking.
I'm not a
You're
kayaker.
a canoe man. For sure.
Not even.
You could canoe.
I think
I'll
he's
just stand
a-
on the bank and fish.
I feel like he's a float down the river kind of guy
like an inner tube with
Inner
a
tuber.
cooler of beer.
Maybe some Bud Lights.
with some nice cool
But
Bud
like
Lights.
you could do that in a canoe too. You could have a cooler of beer in your canoe.
Why would I ever want to do that?
Because it's fun. It's
It
fun.
probably is fun.
It's fun to
I've never
like
done it.
avoid hitting obstacles that could potentially kill you.
That doesn't sound very fun.
It's
No,
exhilarating.
he's onto something here.
I spend my life putting my seatbelt on.
Yeah, you can't have a seatbelt in the canoe. You die
Yeah.
if you ever flipped. Yeah. Yeah, kayaking. That's my second pick.
My second pick has got to be board games. I love switching to Magic, and like board games kind of give you that similar feel sometimes. And board games, with family, like even just funner, lighter board games are a lot of fun. Just all board games. I'm just really into those.
Board games are fun, but why play board games when you can play poker?
Oh, poker's a good one. I love poker.
I like how you guys' answers are all just more games.
Yeah, I mean,
It's all activities.
what do you want me-
That are just games.
sleep for dinner. Sometimes I do that. Is that fun? No.
That's fine.
All right. More game. Oh, man. I will pick binge watching a show.
Oh, nice.
And then for my second pick, because I get to you, right?
Yeah.
Good. Cooking.
Yeah, that's fun.
Cooking's fun.
That's like a thing I just always do, though.
Yeah, I do
But
it like every day.
But I'm talking about like fancy cooking.
Yeah,
know,
like
you're gonna put
up in
some
your
more-
game, watching.
Yeah, you're just like, I need a Salt Bay. That's probably not topical anymore, but like, but I need to like use my sous vide machine. I need to like get some.
What?
Good,
Oh,
it's-
man, you're missing out.
You're
He's a
missing
vegan. He's a vegan. He doesn't.
Oh,
You cook something real slow in water.
oh, it's so good. It
That's
just,
not-
oh.
Yeah.
I've never had it.
When my brother just
Both
steaks
of
in
you
them.
guys,
They're
you
so
just-
good.
Did
With
we
that
both do it?
sound, oh
Did we
my
both do it? Out
God,
of it?
stop. That's embarrassing, both of you. You should be ashamed. Especially you. You're way younger. That's insane.
All right, well, Joel, it's up to you now. Next.
I'm going to have to go with skiing. I did that with my family over Christmas break,
That's a
and it
good
was a
one.
blast. Yeah.
Do you ever try snowboarding?
I have not. No, I have like actual ski gear now, so I'd have to rent a snowboard.
Yeah.
So,
You
I-
go skiing enough to have actual skiing gears?
I mean, yeah, it's just cheaper than renting it every time if you do it
Yeah.
enough. Right. So,
Like you have to do it quite a bit, though, right?
I mean, yeah, but if
How many
it also
times do
lasts a
you go
long
skiing?
time.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Your skis aren't going back.
Yeah,
Aren't
exactly.
going back.
Like as long as you take care of it,
Yeah.
it'll last 10, 20 years pretty easily.
Skiing's fun.
Yeah.
Skiing's-
It's a
Never
blast.
been.
That does not surprise
Yeah.
me.
Not
I'm the
surprising me
least
at all.
cultured for sure. Like all this stuff you guys are saying, I've never done it. 3D printing. I've been getting
Yeah,
back
that's
into
right.
that.
Oh, very good.
Nice.
My daughter's super into it now. So like I put a program on her computer, like showed her how to like make stuff to print, and she's like super into it.
Yeah, that's like
Packmate deck boxes coming soon.
Yeah, that's the plan. I remade them. Yeah.
that's tight.
It was a
That's
cool
super
design.
tight.
That's
That
Yeah.
stuff's super cool.
yeah.
All right. I like to watch movies. Can I get one more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last one.
Oh gosh. I hate whenever I have to
Eating
do
vegetables.
I think playing with your pet.
Oh,
That's
good.
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I got a rabbit. I don't like to play with him,
Oh.
but he's broken. He's like, this is really fucked up. This is so fucked. But I have to explain it when I say my rabbit's broken. So basically, he got an ear infection that makes him tilt his head. They literally call it head tilt. Okay, it like messes with their equilibrium. So ever since there's like a 80% full recovery rate. My rabbit was a part of the 20% that is permanently sideways for the rest of his poor little life. So he basically is like a drunk driver now. And he's like, if you imagine like a car driving, but its steering wheel is just turned all the way to one side. And he just basically does donuts all the time. But he's awesome.
Very nice.
He's thriving. But
I'm gonna say going on a trip. Just going on a nice trip,
Yeah.
clearing your head,
Nice.
not doing anything, hanging out with the fam.
Always a good time. My last one, I'm gonna have to go with rock climbing, specifically bouldering. If you have ropes, you're doing it wrong.
I don't even know what any of that means.
It's a good time.
scary.
Spending time with family.
Amazing.
I'm just kidding.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. That's
Yeah.
fun.
It was nice. I was mainly because I was on my holiday vacation, so
Yeah.
I'm always
Yeah,
kind of
for sure.
I'm kind of a transplant here. It's nice to go back and see some friends and family.
Yeah,
Spend
Yeah,
time with
it's
them.
always fun.
It was a good use of my time.
And that's it, right?
Yep. We'll catch you boys on the flippity flop.
Bye.
Yeah, we'll see y'all later.
Let's hear that sign out.
what
Sign
you
out?
got?
What's the sign out?
Joel.
Yo,
Get your homework done.
Bro, what in the world?
Why do your homework when you can
You
make
can-
festival
what
in
is
a
it, like,
boxes?
You can play 111 games of Chaos Sealed. You can't think of a sign out?
Evidently.
If you can think of a sign out for Joel, put that in the comments, please.
Yes.
Please help
He needs
our
one.
brother out. For sure. But I think that's all we got this week.